I'm also the founder and director of a company called Clearwax. So Clearwax are the manufacturers of the iClearScope device, which is the device that we're using to record and perform the procedures. We also train ear professionals in endoscopic ear care around the world. And in the UK, we have an online portal. So if you are based in the UK and you're suffering from a blocked ear and you would like a suitably qualified and trained clinical ear care specialist, visit our website www.clearwax.co.uk, and you can enter your postcode and or city or town, and you can find your nearest specialist. So we have a client here with very dry and crusted earwax, possibly, I think, well, this is probably a bit more dead skin, I would say, on this side. You can see it's coating the ear canal. So the earwax and dead skin, it's very dark, so it's been there for a long time. The patient is also of Asian descent, so the ear canal is obviously a bit darker. It's not Caucasian or pink skin. It's more of a beige interior. So the video itself, it might look a bit dark. It's not because we haven't got the lighting right. It's just because the patient is obviously of Asian descent, and the earwax on top of that is also a very dark colour. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm just trying to loosen this this surface wax, dead keratin, which is really crusted off the ear canal wall. So you can see I've got it off the base. I'm just on the anterior canal wall at the moment, and I was just at the roof of the ear canal. You can see it's very dry. It's got loads of skin adhesions there. And the way you loosen these skin adhesions, you make little wriggles with the suction probe. So I've got a suction grip and I'm just wriggling it. I'm not actually trying to remove this at the moment. I'm just trying to loosen, because I know if I just suck this out in one go and try to suck it out, it's not going to remove itself. So I'm just trying to detach it. You can see I'm going more to the opposite side of the ear canal wall now, just trying to loosen that. Now, again, I'm using the big Zollner suction probe. I just want to loosen it a bit more. See, I'm going towards the anterior canal wall now, just peeling it, just ready to extract it. So sometimes with earwax removal, it's processes. You're, well, all the time I should say, you're thinking what you're going to be doing ahead, and you're preparing yourself. So in this ear, I've prepared the earwax now to use some crocodile forceps. If this wax dead keratin was still adhered to the canal wall, there's nothing for me to grip onto. So now that I've retracted it, elevated it off the canal walls, I can now insert the crocodiles and get a bit of grip, a bit of purchase. There we are. So I've got a big piece there, and as you see, it's still got a lot of surface dead keratin wax, and you've got this piece stuck on the eardrum. It's almost like a postal stamp. It is really stuck. So I've just got in with an ear hook, with a fine end, and that's not moving. There's no other way you can remove that. You can't use an ear hook because it's stuck to the eardrum. So how do you get in behind the eardrum with an ear hook without making contact with the eardrum? Same with Jobson horn, and also with forceps, the crocodile forceps. You can't peel something like this off the eardrum using forceps unless there's a leaning edge. This is completely impacted and stuck. So the tip of the forceps is quite sharp and pointed. So, and there's nothing for me to grab onto. So the only way you can remove this is by using suction. So I've just put some drops in there, just trying to loosen this, and it's still stuck. You can see it's really large. There's there's a slight gap anteriorly onto the right hand side of the anterior recess where it's come detached, but it's just not enough still for me to put an ear hook in there, because the flat end of the ear hook would become in contact with the eardrum and it'd be very painful for the patient. So I'm just being patient. The patient obviously is awake. There's no general anaesthetic, no local anaesthetic, and I'm just trying to peel this off the eardrum still. So you can see 3/4 of the eardrum. It's just the southeast segment of the eardrum, so the anterior inferior quadrant, where this wax is attached. And you can see even with the fine air, when I'm touching that, it is causing the eardrum to vibrate because it is stuck. And the last thing we want to do is remove this last piece of wax, the keratin that's embedded on the eardrum, and then cause trauma to the eardrum whilst doing that. So I've just put some more drops in. So what I'm going back, so you can see it's a bit blurry now sometimes. So what I've decided to do is just to suction some of the fluid out, and also sometimes if you remove the keratin, if you peel it from the lateral part of the ear canal, so the ear canal near the entrance, sometimes just a peeling motion removes this plug of wax, dead keratin on the eardrum because it's attached to it. So I just thought I'll give that a go. So this remaining keratin on the canal wall, it's not significant, it's not going to affect the patient's hearing at all, it's not infected. And again, you can see it's a bit blurry because of all the drops I'm putting in, so I'm going to come out in a moment just to wipe the distal. You can see how oily the ear is. So it's not, so if a patient attended with this layer of dead keratin, that's what we're removing now, we wouldn't really do much unless it's infected, because it's not causing any problems. Less is more. If we perform a procedure that's not necessary or warranted, and by doing that we cause some sort of injury, and if we ever get taken to court and litigated against, I'm going to have to justify, and well, any clinical ear care specialist is going to have to justify why they performed that. So if I said, well, my YouTube fans don't like it because when I leave a bit of skin behind, hence why I was trying to remove it, and I then cut the ear and I cause an infection, well, that's not a valid reason. So it's what we always tell our delegates who attend our clear wax removal training. It's just less is more. So if I were to cut the ear at this stage, my justification is because you've got this plug of dead keratin wax on the eardrum, and I was hoping by peeling this off, it's attached and it peels off. And actually, you'll see in a moment, it actually helped. So it is loosening, and I've just got to take it away from the anterior recess, which is the little cravat to the front on the right hand side. There's a little trench there. And again, the ear's still very oily. We've had to put a lot of oil in here because it's so crusted and hardened. And there we are. So I'm going to bring this forward. I think it gets lodged in the ear canal for a second. And the consistency of this, if you were to touch it, it's very rough, very hard, almost like piece of glass or a very hard piece of plastic. There we are. So that's the eardrum. I can see it fully. You've got some bits around the edge. So, as I said, that's not really going to affect the patient as such. So I'm just mopping up some of the oil near the entrance. So we leave that. The patient's symptoms have alleviated. Remember, we're doing these procedures for a clinical reason. So I know some viewers may not like it when we leave some bits behind, but I hope you can appreciate it's not entertainment. Well, some of you may find it, and I can understand why it is entertainment, but the primary purpose of the procedure is to alleviate the patient of their symptoms. So hence why sometimes we leave a bit of wax. And if you've been watching a lot of my videos recently, I've been talking a lot about the benefits of earwax. Earwax actually has got a health benefit. I did a talk, a presentation for some GPs recently, and I've been invited to do an international talk on earwax management. It's an annual conference that takes place in India. I think it's called the International Symposium of Audiological Medicine. So I'll be doing that, I think the second week of January. So this is the opposite ear again. This is more, it's very similar actually. It's a really hard plug of dead keratin wax. It's oxidized. It's literally jet black in color. With this, there's a bit of an opening for me to use an ear hook just to loosen it a bit. And you can see I'm trying to pull it up and away. So I have detached it from the base of the ear canal. I think I'm going to use some forceps, but I don't think I got very far with the forceps. And the reason why there's not enough surface area for me to grip onto, and you can see this it's moving backwards. When I went in with the forceps, I'm actually pushing it in because it's such a hard, solid piece of keratin and wax. So I just thought, let me just wriggle this forwards again, bring it back to where it was near the entrance. When the wax is so hard and dry, it is difficult to get a purchase, some suction grip, and you run the risk of pushing it further in. And it is lodged, you can see around the edge of the ear canal, it is lodged there. So I've just gone back in with the ear hook, trying it again, just trying to. So I'm going to the top part of the ear canal now, so the roof of the ear canal, and I'm just trying to get in behind. This part of the ear canal is more flexible, it's a cartilage portion, so if we wouldn't be able to do this if this wax was a bit more deeper, more medial, because that's the bony part of the ear canal, which is very centre. So I'm just prising this forwards. You can see it is moving forwards. I'm just rolling it forwards in a ball motion. So we're near the entrance now. You can see there's a lot of hair there, cilia. This is the reality of earwax removal. Sometimes the view's not great, it's difficult, but that's the nature of people's ears, they're hairy. And there's the tympanic membrane, so there's the eardrum. And again, we've got a bit of keratin around the edge, not overly concerned by that. So if it comes off easily, we will just, so there's a bit here, so if we just peel this and it all comes off, fine. But otherwise, we're going to leave that. There's no real clinical benefit. So I'm just mopping up around the edge. A bit of dead keratin there, which we can easily get. That's fine, as that's loose. It's no problem getting that. Fantastic. So yeah, that's the patient's eardrum, nice and healthy. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. It gives you a bit of an insight on sometimes why we leave a bit of keratin wax behind. We've always got to justify our procedures if we're ever to go wrong, and yeah, I've got to have a valid justification, as do all clinical ear care specialists, to justify our actions and why we do stuff and not do other stuff. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll try and upload some new videos next week.